So Facebook approved me for monetization. I'm about to turn 62. I have about 900 followers, and my original personal Facebook profile now has professional mode turned on, so it functions as a creator profile. And one random day, there it was, a little notice saying I'd been approved for monetization. And let me go ahead and tell you the part nobody puts in big glittery letters out on the internet. So far, I have made $3.80. $3.80. So no, this is not one of those videos where I sit here and tell you I cracked the secret Facebook money code. I have not cracked the code. I have located the door. I may have tripped over the welcome mat, but I did get in. And I think that's worth talking about because I know a lot of women over 50 are trying to figure out if these platforms are still worth learning, if there's still room for us, and if this whole creator thing is something regular people can realistically use without turning into somebody's dancing granddaughter in the kitchen. So today I want to tell you what happened, what I was posting before I got approved, what I actually know so far, what I don't know yet, what I might do differently, and why I still think Facebook monetization is worth paying attention to, even though I have not exactly funded retirement with my $3.80. Stay with me to the end because there's one thing I almost got completely backwards about Facebook monetization. Once I figured that out, changed the way I'm thinking about what I post now. And if you're over 50 and trying to build income options that don't require another job, don't require more clients, or a second nervous breakdown, go ahead and like this video and subscribe. Here on Valerie Creates It, we're talking about modern income after 50, Amazon influencer, Facebook monetization, affiliate marketing, AI, Pinterest, YouTube, digital products, and figuring out what actually makes sense in real life. Now, first things first, I am not a Facebook monetization expert. I'm a woman who got approved, looked at the earnings, saw $3.80, and thought, well, that's not much money, but it is information. And around here, information counts. That means something is turned on. Something is working at least enough for Facebook to count it. And now the question is, what do I do with that? That's what interests me. Not pretending $3.80 is a business empire, but looking at this and saying, okay, if Facebook is willing to monetize some of this content, what can I learn from that? Because the reason I care about this at my age is not because I think Facebook is about to make me rich by Friday. That would be delightful. I would accept. But I do still live here on Earth. The reason I care is because a lot of us over 50 and 60 are looking around and realizing we may need more options than we thought we would. Retirement's not as far away as it used to be. Groceries have gotten so expensive, I feel like I should be making eye contact with the cashier before I hand over my card, just so we both understand the seriousness of the moment. Insurance has lost its manners, and the phrase fixed income is starting to sound a little too fixed. A lot of us don't want to go get another traditional job. We don't want to chase clients. We don't want to build something that needs us available every minute of every day. So I'm not looking at Facebook monetization like some magic jackpot. I'm looking at it as one possible income stream, one piece of a bigger puzzle, one more place where your stories, your experience, your humor, your opinions, and your personality might be able to work for you over time. And that's what got my attention. Now let me explain exactly what happened with my profile because this can get a little confusing. This is my personal Facebook profile. It's my original profile I built when the kids were teenagers, but I turned on professional mode. So now it functions as a creator profile with professional tools and monetization access. It's not a separate business page. It's not a brand new account I started from scratch. It's the same personal profile I've had for years, now with professional mode turned on. Now that matters because I don't want anybody thinking I started some clean, perfect Facebook page with a neat little strategy from day one. I did not. This profile does have history. It has friends, family, business people, dog people, old posts, random life updates, vacation posts, YouTube videos I shared, business-related things, and probably a few folks who are only there because they're nosy. And frankly, I respect the nosiness. It's how half of us learn things. Before Facebook approved me for monetization, I was mostly posting regular personal profile stuff, things that happened during the day, business-related thoughts, dog stuff, vacation things, some of my YouTube videos, inspirational quotes, that sort of thing. Real life, but not extremely personal real life. I'm not the person who's going to turn my whole life into a public emotional yard sale. That's just not me. I'll be real, but I'm still going to keep some doors closed. I think that matters too, because sometimes people think content means you have to tell everything. You don't. You can be real without handing the entire internet a folding chair and inviting them to every corner of your business. So, I was posting consistently, but I was not following some perfect monetization plan. I was not sitting there with a giant Facebook binder, color-coded tabs, and a strategy worthy of a presidential campaign. I posted daily a lot of the time, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes several times a week. It was active enough that the profile was alive, noticeably alive. I would occasionally post a reel, but most of what I was posting was images and text posts. And here's the interesting part. Right now, in my monetization dashboard, my approximate earnings are $3.80. Stars are sitting at 0, which does not shock me because honestly, stars always felt a little strange to me. I got approved for the stars program first, and I didn't think much about it because I couldn't imagine people sending me stars for my regular content. They like cost a penny, and people can send them to you if they like your stuff. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody loves stars. Maybe there's a whole stars situation happening somewhere, and I just haven't found the party. But to me, on Facebook, stars kind of fell flat. It feels like Facebook may have been trying to copy that gifting thing you see on TikTok Lives, where people send little gifts to the host, but for the kind of content I make, stars just never felt like the main opportunity at all. The part that caught my attention was the content monetization, and I got that later. That's where the $3.80 came from. And according to what I'm seeing right now, most of that has come from photos, then a little bit from reels, a little from text, and a tiny little bit from stories. Now, is that life-changing money? Absolutely not. That's not a tank of gas. That's not a gallon of gas in most places. This is not even fancy coffee. This is maybe gas station coffee and a suspicious little snack if you shop carefully. But it does tell me something. It tells me Facebook is monetizing more than just polished videos. It tells me photo and text may matter. It tells me my regular content might have some income potential if I get smarter and more intentional about it. And that's why I'm paying attention. Now, getting monetized does not mean meaningful money starts falling from the ceiling fan. Let's just say that out loud. Being approved means you now have access to monetization. Then you still have to figure out how to create content people actually want to stop for, read, watch, comment on, share, and come back for. That's the work. And that's where I am right now. I know I need more followers. I know I need better content. And when I say better, I don't mean more polished. I don't need everything to look like a production crew is hiding behind the curtains. I mean clearer, more useful, more relatable, and more worth stopping for. Because people are busy. They're tired. They're scrolling while waiting on coffee, sitting in the car, avoiding laundry, or hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes of peace. If I want them to stop, I have to give them a reason. That means stronger hooks, clearer topics, and making it easy for the right person to think, oh, she's talking to me. For me, the right people are women over 50, Gen X and Boomer women, women looking at retirement reality, women wanting more options, women curious about building income without another job or a pile of clients, women who still have creative ambition even if life has worn them slap out a time or two. Those are my people, and I'm trying to get better at serving them. That's one of the biggest shifts I'm making right now. Before monetization, I was posting like a regular person on Facebook because that's what my profile was. Now I'm trying to increase how often I post without driving everybody crazy. And there is a line there. Nobody wants to open Facebook and see you have posted 17 times before breakfast like you're being paid by the syllable. But if you want the platform to understand your content and you want people to engage, you probably need to show up more than once in a blue moon when Mercury is in Gatorade or wherever Mercury goes. So I'm testing. I'm posting more. I'm leaning a little harder into Gen X content, business content, life observations, retirement reality, online income, and the things women our age are actually thinking about. I'm still going to stay somewhat private on the life part. Could I get better numbers if I turned my life into drama? Probably, but I'm not seeking drama here. I want connection. I want usefulness. I want humor. I want people to feel like they've found somebody who gets it. I don't want to build my content around setting my emotional curtains on fire for engagement. That may work for some people, but it's not my plan. Now let's talk about the page versus professional mode question, because I do think it matters. If a woman my age asks me, Valerie, should I turn on professional mode on my personal profile or should I start a separate Facebook page? Here's my honest answer. If you're starting fresh and you want a cleaner public content home, I'd seriously consider a page. A page can have one clear topic. It's easier to treat it like a public content space instead of a funny blend of relatives, old friends, business contacts, dog people, and people who remember you from 3 versions of yourself ago. A page lets you build around a specific lane. Whether that's retirement reality, over 50 income, Gen X humor, recipes, DIY, product finds, or whatever your thing is. And it keeps your personal life a little more separate. Some of us don't love the idea of our content reach being tangled up with 20 years of personal history, family opinions, old pictures, and people who knew us before we had sense. You can choose who sees your content, but as far as I can tell, you have to do that manually on each post. That's one of the downsides of building on your personal profile with professional mode turned on. Another downside is scheduling. A lot of the tools that let you schedule posts are built for pages and business accounts, not personal profiles, even if professional mode is turned on. So if you want to sit down, create a bunch of content in advance and schedule it out neatly, that can be more annoying on a professional profile than it would be on a page. You can still schedule manually inside of Facebook, but it's not as smooth as using a regular scheduling tool for a page. And if you're trying to batch content ahead of time, that can matter. Now the exception is this. If you already have a personal profile where people know you, engage with you, and respond to your stories, professional mode can let you build from something you already have, and that's what happened to me. Starting a brand new page means starting quieter for a while. Fewer people, less engagement at first, more patience required, and it'll probably take longer. So my honest rule of thumb is this. If you're starting from scratch, a page is probably cleaner. If you already have an engaged personal profile, professional mode may let you build from what you already have a little sooner. And if you're like me and you already flipped the switch before you fully understood the question, welcome to the well, here we are portion of the program. But we'll make it work, won't we? Now I want to be careful because I don't know why I got approved. I can only tell you what was true in my case. I had been posting consistently. Not perfectly, not with a spreadsheet worthy of NASA, but consistently enough that my profile was obviously active. And I was posting things that sounded like me. I wasn't just dumping links. I wasn't just resharing other people's stuff, although I did that some and still do. You don't get paid for reshares as far as I understand it, so if monetization is the goal, original content matters. I was putting my own thoughts, stories, observations, humor, and real-life moments out there, and I think that matters. People can feel when there's a real human behind the content, especially people our age. We've lived long enough to smell fake from 2 rooms over. We don't need everything perfect, but we do need it to feel real. And that's one of the biggest advantages we have after 50. We have our stories. We have opinions. We've lived through enough to have perspective. We know what it feels like to raise kids, build careers, lose things, start over, worry about money, get tired, keep going, and laugh at ourselves because the alternative is throwing a chair. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm too old to make content, I think you may have more raw material than you realize. You may not know how to package it yet. That's a different problem, and it's a solvable problem. Now, the biggest thing I'm doing right now is watching what actually hits. Not what I think should hit, not what I spent the most time on, not what made me feel clever, but what actually gets a response. And let me tell you, that can be humbling. Sometimes you write something and think, well, this is brilliant. Surely the people will gather. And it sits there like a casserole nobody touched at the family reunion. Then another day, you toss off one honest thought in 2 minutes, people comment and share, and you're sitting there going, oh, so that's what you liked. And that's information. And I'm trying to follow the information instead of my ego. My ego is not thrilled about it, but she'll be fine. Specifically, I'm watching what gets comments. I'm watching what gets shared. And what makes somebody say, that's exactly how I feel. That phrase matters. When somebody says, this is exactly how I feel, it means you found the nerve. Not in a manipulative way, but in a human way. You said something that was already sitting inside them before they had the words for it. That's the kind of content I want to make more of. Now here's the thing I almost got completely backwards. I came into this thinking monetization was about the money. And of course money matters. It always matters. We're grown women here. Compliments don't pay the light bill. But if you start with, how do I make money off these people? The content gets weird fast. And people can feel that. They can feel when you're only showing up because you want something from them. So I flipped the question around. Instead of asking, how do I make money on Facebook? I started asking, how do I become genuinely worth following? It's a very different question, and it's a much better question. Because if you're worth following, people come back. If people come back, the platform gets more signals. If the platform gets more signals, more people may see you. And if more people see you, monetization has something to work with. The honest posts, the real ones, the funny because it's true ones, those are the ones that seem to connect. So I'm trying to stop chasing the money first and start paying more attention to whether I'm worth the follow. The money should come after that. At least that's the theory. I'll report back like a woman with a flashlight in a slightly suspicious hallway. If you're over 50 and thinking about trying this, here's what I'd tell you from my tiny $3.80 podium. Don't wait until you understand everything. You won't. These platforms change too fast. And half the time, the dashboard looks like it was designed by somebody who had 3 coffees and a grudge. But do learn the basics. Know whether you're building on a page or a personal profile with professional mode turned on. Know what you want to be known for. Know who you're trying to reach. And start paying attention to what people respond to. Not in a desperate way, but in a curious way. Treat it like an experiment. Post, watch, adjust, and try again. And for heaven's sake, don't build your whole self-worth on one post. Some posts flop. That doesn't mean you're bad at this. It means you got information. The internet is moody. And we've got to stop letting one slow post send us into a spiritual crisis. So here's what I'm testing next. I want to get more intentional about my topics without losing the realness that got me here. I'll still post the funny things. I'll still post the real life observations. I'll still talk like myself, but I'm going to pay closer attention to the themes people respond to. For me, that means retirement reality, building income after 50, no client income ideas, Facebook monetization, Amazon content, creative second chapters, Gen X humor, and the honest truth about learning all this when you didn't grow up with a phone in your hand. Because let's be honest, some of us grew up with 3 channels on the TV, 4 if you count PBS. And now we're supposed to understand dashboards, analytics, reels, monetization, hashtags, hooks, thumbnails, scheduling tools, and why Facebook moved that button again. It's a lot. But we can learn it. Not because we're trying to become teenagers, but because we're not done. And that's the part I want women my age to hear. You're not too late. You're not done. You may be tired. You may be skeptical. You may have to write down where the settings are because the app keeps changing like it's running from the law. But you're not too late. Definitely not. So that's where I am right now, monetized at almost 62, using my original personal Facebook profile with professional mode turned on, about 900 followers, $3.80 in, still learning, still testing, still stubbornly optimistic. I don't have all the answers, but I've got curiosity, a professional dashboard, a little stubbornness, and apparently just enough monetization to buy half a cup of coffee. So I'm going to keep going, and I'll bring you with me as I figure it out. If you're over 50 and thinking about Facebook monetization, tell me in the comments. Would you rather build from your personal profile with professional mode turned on, or start a clean page? And if you have no idea yet and you're just watching to see if I fall on my face, that's also acceptable. I respect a fellow nosy person. If this was helpful, like the video and subscribe. Here on Valerie Creates It, we're talking about modern income after 50, Amazon influencer, affiliate marketing, AI, Facebook monetization, Pinterest, YouTube, digital products, and building realistic income options without pretending any of this is easier than it is. I'm going to keep sharing what I learn as I learn it, not the polished version, the real middle part, the messy part. And hopefully at some point I get to come back and say, remember when I made $3.80? Well, look what happened next. So stay close. You're not done yet.